I feel like romanticizing your past, your own past, and yourself, and fantasizing others or things that you don't currently have is like nearly to the point that it's something to do with our nature. Like I feel like it's something a lot deeper than how we perceive it as. So even if like I feel like I have desire, I want something, it's got something to do with my primitive nature. Like I mean, primitive desires like lust or feeling like hungry, like those really ain't like deep and primitive natures. I mean, primitive desires are dictating our desires and shaping our like shaped by our emotion and fermented by emotion inside our brain like for a very long time, and it comes out as something that we call it want, our desire, like I want that thing. It really depends on how long that thing, that this like piece of emotion, clumps of emotion has been inside you for, like, let's say it's been inside you for a very long time and you keep on thinking about it over and over again. Then it's obvious, but it's while being shaped by emotion, it kind of gets to have this like fantasies on top of it, like a false image. So I feel like it's so obvious. It's something that we do immediately the moment we start conceiving thoughts. Like I don't know, 4 5 years old. I feel like that's when a baby starts to kind of like feel like knowing who they are. Like they have the sense of self and the others. Like they are starting to learn this kind of concepts. I think like at that very moment we also learn how to fantasize and romanticize ourselves. And the part that scares me, and also the thing that is causing issue, not an issue but like a problem for me as of now, is that I simply cannot control this feeling of thinking that I will get someone, like I will find someone, this one girl, or yeah, obviously this one girl who will like perfectly understand my persona, and who will resonate with me, and like all the fantasies over this like one girl, that you don't even know the face of. And it's so easy to fall in love with this concept, with this just idea of love. I don't even know if I should call it love, because that's very idealized and hot, a very vague word term that's shaped and understood differently by different individuals, depending on their situation, environment, and their upbringing, how they were raised, and which culture you were raised on, raised in. So I simply cannot. I always feel like by end of this, so like I'm trying to improve myself constantly every single time, like every single second of my life. I cut all the cheap dopamines. I'm trying to have my own faith on my beliefs, and trying not to compromise any of them in like as much as possible. Like let's say if I'm in the brink of death, like I have to look for a job, but like the only choices that I have is like requires me to compromise something, then I have to, like in order to survive. And if I'm in a much better position, let's say by working hard enough, if I get there, then maybe I can start, keeping all the beliefs. But right now, I'm not in that desperate situation, so it's obvious that I can keep my beliefs. But also at the same time, I feel like if I keep these beliefs, if I have my like a faith in these beliefs, I feel like I can never find anyone. Like I just cannot simply even find a person who I can deeply have a deep conversation with. Like I'm not talking about a partner as of like at this point, just like a human being, another human being who will recognize me and validate me, so that my consciousness gets to grow in its fullest. For a one's for one's consciousness to fully develop, it needs another consciousness. So I need someone at the end of the day. It's not like outside of this old biology and mechanism. I long connection. Like that's just I feel like that's just not even like I'm being honest, you know, like we all agree to the fact that we need someone else in our lives. And same for me, I long connection, I want people to validate me and recognize me, but it's not in any cheap ways. So like I would rather be lonely than being around people that I don't really appreciate, like being around people that whose moral standards are really low and who I consider as degenerates. So this it got me really difficult for me to find new people, let's say, like make new friends. It was never difficult back then when I didn't have this kind of this firm belief, like solid beliefs, and have faith in my own beliefs. But like because it's again not about I don't think it's about how badly you talk among people, like with others, let's say, because I personally think that I talk well with others. Like I feel like I talk better than the average, not in like articulating way, but when I'm outside, I back then in my high school, junior high, I talked about this like several times in my YouTube channel before, but I used to have lots of colleagues, acquaintances back when I call them friends, but like I knew nearly everyone in my high school. Like even a friend of mine told me like, you know everyone because I every single I go everywhere I go, I just dabble with like some dudes that I know. Like I've seen that dude like from while playing basketball. Like you know like I just knew so many people, but none of I had not a single connection that I could call like deep connection, and none of them called me kind of like invited me to a frat or you know Saturday night like a classic Mexican party kind of things. I was never invited after junior high, so you guys can already tell. Maybe it's got to do with my social skill if I look at it back then. I mean, yeah, if I look at it back then, if I look at it now. But I did have like solid connections, but I just couldn't consider them as my friends. And I guess like I'm right here, I'm right now in a very weird position where I feel like I can make friends, but also every single time I make friends, I kind of get disappointed and I require them to be like beyond how do I say like a bit to meet my standards, you know, like to meet my standards and the boundaries that I have. Like I at least want you to acknowledge this, you know. And there was this one moment with a friend from Uzbekistan. He was a Muslim, and like we got into like a bunch of conversations. Not even like it was just like you know a yapping session, let's say, during while we were studying. We were kind of having like we studied for a couple of hours and we started talking about some light topics to we got into like a conversation of when did Muhammad, the prophet of Muslim Muslim Islam, got married with Aisha. My point, my take was 6, and she was consummated when she was 9. And he talked about the different calendar things, and you know we just casually looked it up, and apparently from what we could read, you know what we could find through Google, obviously, is that even if the calendar theory is correct, the age wouldn't differ like long more than 2 years. You know, 1 to 2. Like if we be generous, it would be like should be 7, 8, and like should be like 11 when she was consummated. And the moment like kind of you know I can tell the vibe, I can tell the atmosphere being getting really really weird, and I was like, it I didn't actually like tell him like you gotta admit this pack or kind of things like because I don't know like I genuinely don't know if that this information that we found by research it only like took us like 10 minutes, you know, so I wasn't really sure about this, but I just believed it um through like my own research back then when I was really into Muslim Islam. I kind of got interested in while studying Christianity, and like he got so silenced and to the point like I could tell that he was so uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, we could change the topic, bro. Like it's not like I want to have an argument with you, you know. But after that, like the whole time was so awkward, and I'm like, and like at the end, it was going kind of like you know the mood kind of got back in, and we started talking as we did before. But like if I think of it right now, like in my opinion, still I feel like it's not about religion. Like it's not about this fact about your own religion. And in my opinion, again, if it's about your religion, then you should be eager, like so how do I say, not ambitious, like I forgot this word. Like you should be zeal. Let's say I know it doesn't really fit in this sentence, but you should be so zeal and eager to find the truth about your religion. That's my thought, because like religion shapes your beliefs and your identity. So like in my case, I questioned so many things when I was an atheist, and now that don't really call myself an atheist, I feel like I read more things about Bible than most of Christians. But I'm not. I don't really call myself a Christian. Like I'm somewhere in the between of something. Like maybe an absurdist. Ever since I got into philosophy, like seriously, but like if it's about relief and about you, then you should always kind of look for more things about your own religion. That's like what I'm trying to say. Like it really is about not about religion, but about yourself. So if something inside you like keeps, if you keep questioning things about your own religion, then you should eagerly seek for truth, like what is correct, because there has to be a truth. And like just keep on avoiding these things just because it's uncomfortable. I don't think that's the point of believing in something. Like if you believe in something, let's say if you're a Christian, then my honest take is you should keep on questioning your all your questions and doubts that you have inside you, like, and answer them honestly by to yourself. If at the end you end up even if it you don't end up being a Christian, I think that's what Jesus, let's say, like the God in your religion, wants you to be. Like just be honest with yourself. Like I don't think any of the gods, or let's just like this one God doesn't want you to, if he exists, like doesn't want you to just mindlessly and blindly believe that he exists or she exists, like that God exists, let's say. So that's my take about it. And I just I like, in my opinion, like that's like the very low standard. Like you gotta accept the facts. You gotta, or like you gotta at least acknowledge that I'm not really sure about this and I'm gonna do my own research, or like or just admit the fact that you don't really care. I want to sit with this religion or like this belief just because it comforts me. And I have no, how do I say, if someone actually acknowledges this, then I don't have any like hate, or like I don't feel anything about that person. I actually even like praise that person. I would respect him for being honest. But everyone is trying so hard to have both at the same time, like trying to get both benefits while not actually doing it. I think it's all the same when it comes in reality as well. Like people are so entitled in some things, that even if like even after knowing the fact that they don't deserve it, they keep on wanting that thing and they want the image of it. I think it's just so prevalent in our generation. How easy it is to like for one to show themselves to public, like through social media, which I personally never felt like it's like it's a part of reality. Like genuinely feel no. I don't think there is like a huge difference between, let's say, like 100 people or like a million people, let's say, in Instagram or YouTube. Like you have like millions of people telling you what to do and like liking the video, like hating the video. And like in contrast, let's like 10, not even 10, like 5 people in real life tells you something negative or like positive things about you, about your video. Like the latter one has enormously bigger impact, like effect. Like it's because it's like real life, bro. Like people are genuine, like actually coming to you in real life and like telling you about their comments. And although like I feel like it's something to do with like the quality of comments, like quality of messages, let's say. It's also something to do with like the reason why I would prefer to be alone. I mean, feel lonely instead, rather than having to, just like I said, having to hang out with people that I don't actually respect, and like that's already compromising my belief. So like the whole point of this video, again, like if I wrap this whole idea up, it's like at the end I have to stick with this beliefs that I call, like what I call my beliefs, and what I call, yeah, my beliefs and my faith. But it gets really difficult sometimes to find some people just like feel like I am part of a society while keeping these beliefs, let's say. So I can keep on, let's just like, hang out with them, just vibing with them, not talking about those things at all. But also at the same time, I would like, now that I know this, like this one friend isn't as, like, doesn't have that kind of standard in his life. Like it's obvious that I want, you know, it would be really difficult for our friendship to get into like friendship of virtue. You get what I mean? And I'm not saying like every friendship has to be friendship of virtue, but also at the same time, if you, let's say, if your standards, like, I don't know, if it's just, if is it just me, if like of having, if it is it just me who has standards when it comes to friends? I don't know, like, because it sometimes feel like everyone's just doing fine with it, with friendship and all that. Some people get friendship through, let's say, like a gaming, people who they met in an online. They have tons of friends in Discord. Like a cousin of mine, who I believe he has no friend at all. Like, no offense, but he genuinely has no real life friends. But he's got so many friends on Discord. Like, he's constantly playing video games with those friends, and I found it really, really not cool, but like, because I never had like internet friends at all, like in my entire life. Although I spent quite a long time, like there was this period of my life when I spent hours every single day playing video game. I'm playing not even video game, just League of Legends, and I never duo queued. It's just like me alone, and maybe that's also this part of me. Like, maybe I was born as introvert, but I sometimes acted like extrovert. But at the end of the day, all, like every single activities that I do are just alone, solitary. So I also have this problem. This may be maybe a bigger issue than I think it is. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just don't feel like I have a solid answer to this matter. I'm just sharing my thought, my opinion, and it's so hard. It's so hard to keep your faith while having friendships, and also at the same time, about like this idea of love. I'm falling into this idea of, I love this. I feel like I'm obsessed with this idea than like the real love itself, which is really dangerous. And I'm being aware of it, and I'm trying not to, because it's just my feeling, and I try not to think about it every single time. Like, Jason, you just like snap out of it. Like, you just gotta move on. I mean, it's not even like move on because there's not a real person. Like, it's not real at all. I'm not saying like I imagine like this anime girl, or any, no, not at all. It's like an actual person, but like it's faceless, like shapeless. Just this idea of someone who sees me, who loves my personality and like all that. And I don't know if it's just me, but it gets. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit scared if it will get like out of control one day. So like I should stop doing this. I should stop romanticizing the idea, and maybe I should just hang out more and try to make more friends. I guess try hanging out and like try talking to more strangers, to just to like chat, or like, I don't know. But anyways, it's kind of getting boring. Yeah, that really is about it. Thank you for watching the video.